Did you know that the biggest mistake you can make when planting spring strawberries is actually trying to grow berries right away? It sounds crazy, but it is true. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about everyone's favorite garden treat, strawberries. I am going to show you exactly how and when to plant your strawberries this spring so you get a harvest so massive you will not know what to do with all the fruit. I promise that by the end of this video, you will know a secret planting trick that most beginners completely ignore. We are going to flip everything you thought you knew about spring gardening upside down. Think you just dig a hole and drop the plant in? Think again. There is a hidden science to waking up these little plants. So, are you a careful planter, or do you just throw seeds in the dirt and hope for the best? Let me know in the comments, and let us get started. Before we get our hands dirty, let us set the stage. The modern garden strawberry that we all know and love is actually a beautiful accident of history. It is a hybrid of two wild strawberry species brought together in Europe back in the 18th century. One came from North America, bringing incredible flavor. The other came from South America, bringing massive size. When you plant strawberries today, you're actually planting a piece of botanical history. But to get those big, red, juicy fruits, you have to understand how these plants wake up from their winter slumber. Spring is the absolute most critical time for a strawberry plant. It is when the plant decides whether to spend its energy surviving or thriving. Understanding this background is the key to unlocking their full potential in your own garden this year. So, let us figure out the exact perfect timing. The timing of your spring planting is absolutely everything. You might be tempted to run outside on the very first sunny day of the year, but hold on a minute. You have to wait for the soil to actually warm up, not just the air. If you plant too early, the cold, wet soil will literally suffocate the roots before they even have a chance to grow. A great rule of thumb is to plant as soon as the ground can be worked in the spring. This usually means the soil is no longer freezing at night, and it is not a soggy, muddy mess. Let us bust a common myth right now. Many people think strawberry plants are fragile and cannot handle a light spring frost. That is completely false. They are remarkably tough. A light frost will not kill a dormant plant. Just imagine a sleeping bear. You want to move it while it is still slightly sleepy, not when it is fully awake and hungry. Plant them early enough so they can establish roots before the blazing summer heat arrives. If you wait until it is hot enough to wear shorts, you have missed the golden window. Now that you know when to plant, let us talk about where. Strawberries are absolute sun worshipers. If you want sweet fruit, you need serious sunlight. We are talking about a minimum of 8 hours of direct sunlight every single day. The sun is what creates the sugars inside the fruit. If you plant them in the shade, you will end up with tiny, sour berries that taste like water. Imagine trying to bake a cake with the oven turned halfway off. That is what happens when a strawberry plant grows in the shade. It just does not work. Look around your yard and find the brightest, sunniest patch available. Avoid planting them near tall trees or fences that cast long shadows in the afternoon. Also, avoid planting them in low spots where cold air and water tend to settle. Cold air acts like water, flowing downhill and pooling in low areas. This can cause late spring frosts to nip your early blossoms. Pick a high, sunny stage where your plants can truly be the stars of the garden. Next up is the foundation of your garden, the soil. You cannot build a great house on a bad foundation, and you cannot grow great strawberries in terrible dirt. Strawberries hate having wet feet. If they sit in puddles, their roots will rot away in a matter of days. You need soil that drains quickly, but still holds onto essential moisture. The perfect soil is sandy loam, packed with rich, dark organic matter. Before you even think about planting, you need to mix in a generous amount of compost. Think of compost as a multivitamin for your garden. It feeds the beneficial bugs and creates air pockets for the roots to breathe. Let us bust another myth here. Some people think you need highly acidic soil for strawberries, like blueberries. Not true. They prefer a slightly acidic pH level, right around 6.0 to 6.5. If your soil is heavy clay, do not fight it. Build a raised bed instead. A raised bed guarantees perfect drainage and warms up much faster in the early spring, giving your plants a massive head start. Let us talk about the plants themselves. When you go to buy strawberries in the spring, you generally have two choices: potted plants that are already growing leaves or dormant bare root plants. Bare root plants are usually cheaper, come in larger bundles, and are surprisingly resilient. When you first open a package of bare root strawberries, they look terrible. They look like a handful of dead, dry, brown string. It is easy to think you bought a bad batch, but do not panic. Imagine a dehydrated sponge. It looks hard and useless, but the second it hits water, it springs back to life. These bare root plants are exactly the same. They are just sleeping. Before you plant them, you must soak the roots in a bucket of clean water for about 20 to 30 minutes. This sends a wake-up call to the plant. It hydrates the root system and prepares the plant for the shock of going into the dirt. Just do not leave them soaking for days, or they will drown. We have reached the most critical step in this entire video: the planting depth. If you learn only one thing today, let it be this: the secret all comes down to the crown. The crown is the thick, fleshy part of the plant where the roots end and the leaves begin. It looks like a little nub. When you dig your hole, you have to be incredibly precise. If you plant the crown too deep and cover it with dirt, the plant will suffocate, rot, and die within weeks. If you plant it too shallow, with the roots exposed to the air, the plant will dry out and die just as fast. You have to find the absolute perfect middle ground. Imagine a person standing in a swimming pool. The roots are the legs, and they need to be completely underwater. The leaves are the head, breathing the air. The crown is the nose and mouth. It must sit exactly at the surface level. Make a small mound of dirt in your planting hole. Drape the roots over the sides of the mound and backfill the dirt precisely up to the middle of the crown. Once your plants are in the ground, you need to think about personal space. Spacing is incredibly important for a healthy strawberry patch. It is very tempting to cram as many plants as possible into a small space to get more berries. But this is a massive mistake. Strawberries reproduce by sending out long, crawling vines called runners. These runners will root themselves and create brand new baby plants. If you start them too close together, your garden will turn into a crowded, tangled jungle. Imagine being packed into a crowded subway car in the middle of summer with no air conditioning. Nobody is happy, and everyone gets sick. Plants are the same way. When they are crowded, air cannot circulate. This leads directly to fungal diseases like powdery mildew and gray mold. which will destroy your harvest. Plant your strawberries about 18 to 24 inches apart in rows that are 3 to 4 feet apart. This gives them plenty of room to stretch their legs and produce those beneficial runners. Let us move on to hydration. Watering your newly planted strawberries requires a delicate balance. Spring weather can be wildly unpredictable. One week it is pouring rain. The next week it is dry and windy. Your new plants need consistent moisture to establish their root systems. The general rule is about 1 to 2 inches of water per week. But how you deliver that water is what really matters. Let us completely shatter a common gardening myth. Do not stand over your plants and spray the leaves with a hose. Wet leaves are an open invitation for disease. You want to water the soil, not the plant. The absolute best way to do this is with a drip irrigation line or a soaker hose. This delivers the water slowly and deeply directly to the root zone. Imagine drinking a glass of water. You want it in your mouth, not splashed all over your face. Deep, infrequent watering encourages the roots to grow far down into the soil looking for moisture, making the plant much stronger and more drought-resistant later in the summer. Now we need to talk about why they are actually called strawberries. It is all about the mulch. Mulching your strawberry bed in the spring is not just for making it look pretty. It is a vital step for a successful harvest. As soon as your plants are settled in the ground, you need to surround them with a thick layer of organic mulch. Clean straw or pine needles are the absolute best choices. The mulch acts like a protective blanket. First, it completely blocks the sunlight from reaching weed seeds in the soil, preventing a weed invasion. Second, it locks the moisture into the ground so you do not have to water as often. But most importantly, it keeps the developing fruit off the bare dirt. If your growing berries rest directly on wet soil, they will rot before they even ripen, or the bugs will eat them first. Imagine sleeping on a comfortable mattress instead of the cold, hard floor. Your berries need a clean, dry bed of straw to rest on while they grow big and sweet. Here is the part of the video that is going to break your heart. But you have to trust me on this. A few weeks after planting, your beautiful new strawberry plants will start producing lovely little white flowers. These flowers are the promise of delicious fruit, and you need to go out there and pinch every single one of them off. Yes, you heard me right. You must pick off the flowers during the first month or two of growth. I know it hurts. It feels totally wrong. But here is the brutal truth. If a young plant puts all its energy into making a few tiny berries right away, it will sacrifice its root growth. It is like asking a toddler to run a marathon. You want the plant to focus 100% of its energy on building a massive, strong root system and strong leaves. By practicing delayed gratification and removing those early flowers, you are guaranteeing a plant that is twice as big and will produce 10 times the amount of fruit in the later years. Finally, let us discuss feeding your hungry plants. You might think you should dump a bunch of fertilizer into the hole right when you plant them. Stop right there. Do not do it. Young bare root plants are very sensitive. Strong synthetic fertilizers can literally burn their delicate new roots. It is like giving a massive energy drink to someone who just woke up from a coma. It is way too much, way too fast. Wait until your plants have been in the ground for about 4 to 6 weeks, and have started putting out strong new green leaves, then you can apply a balanced organic fertilizer. Look for something with equal parts nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Nitrogen helps grow the green leaves, phosphorus builds strong roots and eventually flowers, and potassium helps with overall plant health. Just sprinkle it lightly around the base of the plants, avoiding the leaves, and water it in thoroughly. A slow and steady meal is all they need to power through the spring and set you up for success. So there you have it. You now know the secrets to spring planting. But wait, here is a crazy plot twist for you to share at your next garden party. Botanically speaking, strawberries are not actually berries at all. They are what scientists call aggregate accessory fruits, and they are the only fruit in the world that wears its seeds on the outside. Mind-blowing, right? By planting at the perfect time, respecting the crown depth, pinching off those early flowers, and using a good straw mulch, you are setting yourself up for an unbelievable harvest. Do not let this spring window close on you without getting your plants in the ground. Thank you so much for watching and spending time in the garden with me today. If you learned something new, please hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and do not forget to leave a comment. I want to know, what is the hardest part of gardening in the spring for you? Is it the unpredictable weather or just finding the time? Let us chat in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.